So I guess one thing that y'all don't know is today was my first day as the Colorado and Northern Rockies coordinator for Project Coyote. So that is a transition from my role the past 10, 11 months where I was the Colorado state coordinator, but now I'm going to be working in Wyoming, Montana, when needed and when we have opportunities to make some change. And then Kylie is on here as well, and she is our state advocacy manager, and she'll help me with some of the chat if we have any questions there. And if you do have questions along the way, um, I think probably the best way, since it's a really small crowd, we can just do a hand raise, and we'll see if we can manage it that way. Does that sound good to everyone? Cool. So a little bit about me. I wrote a book called Coyote Conversations during that process and my wildlife photography career that really got me transitioning from just appreciating our wildlife into advocating for them. I then joined on as the volunteer and outreach coordinator for Prop 127 last year in Colorado to prohibit the hunting of mountain lions and trapping of bobcats. Though unsuccessful, we certainly gained a lot of momentum for our effort here and exposed a lot of the horrific things that are going on in Colorado and beyond. I was also in Peace Corps. I've had quite a storied career. Uh, I wouldn't say that I'm a Renaissance man, but I'm getting close to it. So, about Project Coyote, our mission is to protect North America's wild carnivores and promote compassionate coexistence through education, science, advocacy, and coalition building. And our vision is North America where both humans and wild carnivores coexist and thrive. So we have three major campaigns: our protect, coexist, and inspire. Protect is more on the kind of like the policy side, like where can we make changes fundamentally, whether that's through reforming wildlife governance, looking at you know how each species is regulated, that kind of thing, to coexistence. A lot of that work comes through our Coyote Friendly Communities program, and coyote friendly communities kind of has that a dual ownership, I feel, between coexist and protect, because one, there's a lot of education to the general public. I do a lot of events where I'm talking with folks about how to live peacefully with coyotes and the preventative measures we can take to make coexistence happen. But then it kind of falls into the protect-ish area where we're looking at working with municipalities to implement some of or all of our guidance in our coyote friendly communities program. Ranching with wildlife is something that I'm looking to get into more, and starting slow and listening more with the ranching community and finding out where we can find room to work with those individuals and build a partnership without just coming in saying you need to do this, you need to do that. And so really having relationships built on trust. And for instance, there's an event that I'll be doing with some different organizations down in Durango next May, and it'll be a 2-day event. One day, public, general public education, that kind of thing, and then the second day will be more on focused with the ranching community. And then inspired or inspire is kind of how I got here, through the Capture Coexistence campaign. So that's our photography. We have wonderful photographers from throughout really North America that contribute photos of carnivores to Project Coyote, and we are so appreciative. And that's one of the big things that makes our social media so special, is through that incredible artwork. And then Keeping It Wild is our youth program where we have modules for children from K through 8th grade, and then we can couple that with actually speaking in classes, which is my absolute favorite thing. My recharge in life is getting in front of some kids that are super jazzed for all things wild and always have their hands raised, and it's just a real joy to be in that environment. I do have, if you're in the Denver area, I have, this is the last of a few events that I've had lined up the past month or so, and that's actually a typo. It's on Sunday, November 9th from 4:30 to 5:30 at a witchcraft store in Wheat Ridge called Ritual Craft. So we're really excited to get in there, maybe reach a different audience that I haven't before. And anytime we can get in front of new people, it's a great opportunity to share our messaging around compassionate coexistence. And if you are interested in having us come out and speak with schools, advocacy groups, governmental organizations, that could be, even your municipalities, I'm happy to talk with you, HOAs even, basically anyone, especially if they have their own built-in audience. I would love to talk with you about that. So I had these goals listed in January at my first town hall that I wanted to get accomplished for this year. First one was find a prime legislative sponsor for a rodenticide bill. I did that. We wanted to reconfirm Jay Touchton as CPW commissioner. We did that. And set reasonable daily and season limits on hunting of, quote, fur bears. We're working on it. We're getting closer and closer, and I'll dive into that in a little bit. So for tonight's agenda, we're going to talk about the 3 anti-wolf attacks that failed, continuing on fur bear reform, the rodenticide bill, and our state advocate program. And for the next 6 months, the rodenticides is going to be a huge one, as we're not sure when it'll start, when it'll be heard in our Colorado legislature, but anytime from January to May, it could happen. Most likely March-ish is what I'm anticipating. And my colleague Samantha Miller from the Center for Biological Diversity submitted a petition to Colorado Parks and Wildlife to prohibit the commercial sale of fur bearer fur. We were hoping that would have already been heard. Unfortunately, it hasn't yet, but we're still pushing hard to get that onto the Colorado Parks and Wildlife Commission agenda, hopefully by March, or I'm sorry, definitely by March, but hopefully by January. And then passing these stricter hunting and trapping regulations on fur bears. So I'm in the fur bear working group, which was created earlier this year, and it has advocates and then hunters, trappers, and ranchers. And we are going through all of the policies around these animals that are called fur bears. And we have our final meeting on this Thursday, and then the facilitator will be taking recommendations to Colorado Parks and Wildlife for hopefully some regulatory changes. And then advocacy and education around wolf reintroduction, that never ends, and I don't anticipate it ever will. It is an important piece here and anywhere that has wolves. How to get involved: we have our state advocate program. So this started this year here, like on the other portion of the screen. It started here in Texas, and that's basically a more committed level of volunteer. Lori, who's on here tonight, is one of those volunteers, and it's a great opportunity to really be engaged with Project Coyote, and that's a kind of a 6-month contract, not a contract, but a 6-month commitment. And we will be kind of going through the next round here in the next month or so, looking at the next 6 months. So if you're interested in that, stay posted for our emails, and more information should be coming out soon. And then outside of Project Coyote, I formed the Colorado Wildlife Alliance with Samantha Miller for advocacy for to the CPW and for legislation like the rodenticide bill. And there's a couple of other wildlife issues that will be in front of the legislature next year. It's a real low commitment way to you lend your voice to get all of our voices together to be stronger and to back up some of the work done by the organizations here in Colorado. Wolf reintroduction. So I pulled some of this from, if anyone came to the Wolf Awareness Week webinar, I pulled some of this info from that. But this year there were 3 unsuccessful attempts to delay or stop wolf reintroduction. That first one was in January with a citizens petition that went in front of the Colorado Parks and Wildlife Commission, and it was voted down 10-1. And then the second one was a ballot initiative that they needed 125,000 valid signatures, and they got 25,000 total signatures, and that went down in flames. And then the last one was during the special session where they were looking to both pause and defund the wolf reintroduction for this year. They ended up defunding, but those funds will come from somewhere else, and they are not pausing it. So that went down, and that prompted me to write strike 3 for wolf ousting efforts. Wolves win, but as we sit here today, we obviously know that was a short win, and we are up against what Oliver was talking about with the letter from Nesvik, where it said that we can no longer source wolves from Canada. And so currently CPW is looking at Oregon and Washington as potential sources for wolves. We got Oregon wolves the first go around, and we have never sourced wolves from Washington. That being said, I know that the agency hasn't completely ruled out Canada and are looking at ways to make that happen. And beyond that, it would benefit the wolves, no matter where they come from. You can't label them for being a depredator or being this or that. But there has been opinion by some in Colorado that all the wolves that have come from British Columbia haven't been involved in any kind of conflict situation. So some within the ranching community are actually pushing towards having those wolves from Canada instead of wolves from the United States. The main difference between the two is the ones from British Columbia have never had contact with humans except for the actual relocation effort. So they feel that they have a better chance of not getting into conflicts here. My little share screen thing is covering. Oh, there we go. So life and death during the reintroduction. We've had 10 wolves die in Colorado or from reintroduction. died. Not all of them died in Colorado. 3 died in Wyoming from various reasons. One's undisclosed, one was, I think, by a rancher, and one by Wildlife Services. One of the wolves listed here was a wolf that was not part of the relocation efforts. He had naturally migrated down, and he was killed by Colorado Parks and Wildlife for predation events. The worst outliers here are really sad to see that when wolves head north to Wyoming, that it's likely going to end really tragically for them. Another big one there is the one that died in the foothold trap that was set. We don't allow these body gripping devices in Colorado except after Amendment 14, which was a constitutional amendment passed in the 90s, except for the use by ranchers with a 30-day trapping permit. And that's what happened to 2512 from British Columbia. That trap was set out by a coyote, and the wolf was trapped in there. And so that is something that I am interested in making reform on, is how what traps get out there, and having better regulations around the actual trap itself, and tracking who is getting them, when they're getting them, because they're only supposed to get one trap per parcel of land per year, and that is likely not the case. The good is, last year we had the Copper Creek Forum, and then 5 pups were born. And then this year we had 3 more packs form. I'm not sure exactly what the numbers of pups on each of those packs is, but it's really great to see. And Colorado Parks and Wildlife got this amazing video of these little pups that were pretty new to the world at that point this video was made. But it's hard to click away from this slide, so bear with me. All right. The Born to Be Wild license plate has been an incredible success. It's raised now over $1 million for coexistence tools, and that ranges from everything from like your fox lights and fladgery to the range rider program itself, and paying for some of those salaries to get those folks on the ground. So really incredible, both to see the actual amount of money that has been raised, but the amount of plates, seeing them on cars, and people are out there supporting wolves. I always make it a point, if I see someone get in or out of a car that has a Born to Be Wild license plate, I just ask them, if I have the chance, to say, hey, do you know where that money goes that you paid to get that plate? And oftentimes they don't realize that it's for coexistence measures. And so I talk a little bit about like what I just said on that last slide, and that makes them feel even better about getting their plate. So this is all info from Colorado Parks and Wildlife on all the both staff that they have, and then also the actual inventory of non-lethal items that they have available. And it's not just the Born to Be Wild license plate that is funding this. There are different organizations, including like the Wolf and Wildlife Center down in Divide, that have contributed quite a bit to the non-lethal program, and couldn't be more thankful for those folks that are helping out with it. And it's really great to see too that next year we're going to get up to, hopefully they fill all the positions, and that would make 24 range riders through Colorado Parks and Wildlife. And then also CDA, which is the Colorado Department of Ag. I think they have funding for up to 3 positions, and they had 2 this year. So on to fur bearer issues. Again, I'm on the fur bearer working group. There are 17 species that are called fur bearers. We are working on 16 of those, excluding beavers because they have their own working group. But they're animals that are only put in one group because people like to kill them for their fur and not for any kind of scientific purposes. So there's a few areas that we're looking at in both the working group and through Samantha Miller's petition, and then just generally advocating for change. Right now, all of the fur bearers are unlimited killing. The year-round killing of coyotes, so it's both unlimited and you can do it at any point during the year. So those are really important issues to get those reduced to a reasonable amount of time and a reasonable number of animals being killed. Obviously, I would like to see both of those go closer to 0 or 0 than being a reasonable number, but anything is better than what we have right now. And then killing for profit. And so again, that's something that hopefully we hear in January. And then there's just no data on these animals because Colorado Parks and Wildlife, gets a lot of funding. They're funding through hunting of our big game species, mainly elk and mule deer. They don't put a lot of funding towards studying these animals. And so while we allow them to be killed in unlimited numbers, we don't really know what their total populations are, or their population densities in certain parts of the state. Like a coyote is going to have a broader footprint, like a raccoon or possibly even a red fox. But then there are some animals that have more defined habitats, like a marten or badger, swift fox, where we need to look at all of them, both at the statewide level and at a like a watershed or game unit level. But then we certainly need to at least get some of these ones that are in more danger of potentially being over hunted more regulated. So beyond that work, then I'm working with CPW Commissioner Jess Beaulieu on a mange treatment program. And for those who don't know what mange is, it's a nasty little disease that's caused by a parasitic mite, and it was really put widespread into the environment through humans trying to infect more coyotes and wolves and carnivores in general to reduce their numbers when we were running these huge campaigns to kill all the wolves, all the coyotes, all the lions, all the bears. And so, there are many folks that want to do anything that they can to help these animals. But if you're dosing a sick animal with the improper dose of medication, you could end up hurting them more. And so we're working with CPW to set up a regulated way to have rapid response to treat these animals in the field so that they don't have to be taken to a rehab facility that more often than not is probably already at max capacity. And so this will be either done through oral treatment, and then down the road, we're looking at rub stations where the animal could actually just rub and get a topical treatment of medication shot onto their skin, and they could be cured that way. So there's some really cool research that is in development right now on those rub stations. That's what I just talked about here. So with that effort, it's with collaboration with Colorado Parks and Wildlife, with rehabilitation centers like Greenwood, and then researchers, specifically like the photos on the right, of we got a bobcat rolling, a coyote, and then two coyotes there rolling on a rub station, and that was done by David Osmond, who's kind of the the ringleader and he started this whole kind of rub station idea. And so he's working with me on getting it refined, and hopefully something that's viable for treatment all over the country, if not the world. So the legislation to in the use of certain rodenticides, those are going to be our anticoagulant rodenticides. Those cause internal bleeding. They, just like the name implies, they don't let the blood coagulate. They're super serious with they're incredibly poisonous. They bioaccumulate in our coyotes and our foxes and our mountain lions. Anyone who is eating a dead or poisoned rodent, that poison doesn't leave our carnivores, and that includes our carnivorous birds as well. So they're the worst of the worst. The next, I would say, would be bromethylene, which doesn't attack in the same way. That's more of a like a neurotoxin, and it has no way to uh, come back once you've been treated. Once you've been poisoned by bromethylene, you're pretty much end up in a bad spot. And then zinc phosphide as well. And then we also included glue traps. So I think glue traps should have been taken care of many years ago, but they are still out there, and people just don't understand what they're actually doing and how inhumane those are. And so that's it for the presentation. You can always keep up with me. If you loved hearing my voice so much this evening, you can hear my voice more on the Wildlife Wire with Samantha Miller. And we try to stay on it about once a week, but we cover a lot of issues, both in Colorado and beyond, and have some really wonderful guests on there as well. If you don't have my email, here it is. And always feel free to reach out to me with any questions or concerns. And that is it. Does anyone have any questions at this point? Are we all going to bed early tonight?
Hey, great presentation. Really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for the updates. Very cogent and good background on what's happening. Appreciate it. I think it's also important you mentioned that the rodenticide campaign dovetails with the demodetic mite campaign in the sense that animals weakened by rodenticide accumulation are much more susceptible to serious mange infections.
100%. And that's where we're coming from on this, is trying to attack the mange on both sides. So what can we do right now? We can treat the animals that have it, but what can we do through legislation is reduce the severity of mange, or the susceptibility of those animals with weakened immune systems to to suffer from it. And so it's really a dual front issue there. And with rodenticides too, it goes even beyond wildlife. It's our children, our kids 5 and under are the humans that are most impacted by rodenticide poisoning, and then our pets, the kids are actually like eating the poison directly. So it's a direct poisoning, unlike our coyote and mountain lion friends and everyone who is getting it through secondary poisoning, and then pets can get it either through direct or secondary poisoning. But most times it's a direct feeding from those rodenticide feed stations.
Yep. Any more thoughts on the Colorado, the likely impact of reintroduction plans this year? Have you heard anything more about the plans? Because I mean, when you do a deep analysis, which I've done, and I've shared a prepared brief, anybody who wants it, are you in the Western Carnivore Conservation List, WCCL?
I am not.
So if you email me, I can help you get in that list if you want.
Okay.
It's great conversation with people like Mark Beckhoff and other scientists and serious interested parties. Might be useful for you to be in the list. I did share it with that list, but anybody that wants this brief, it's formatted as a brief, and it attacks the underpinning kind of spurious nature of Nesvik's opinion letter, because there was never an explicit prohibition. It was the recommended pool.
Right. Right. And what what I can say right now is that um, any kind of litigation around this would take too long, because we're in beginning of November right now, and Colorado Parks and Wildlife typically gets the wolves anytime from late December to January. And so trying to go through a legal battle would would be just as bad, because it's not going to allow them to get those wolves this year. And so they're just working as hard as they can to make sure that they have the agreements in place to get those wolves, whether it's still from Canada or from one of the other uh, two states that I mentioned.
Do you have any? I've been in touch with Eric and others at CPW, but it seems like a big mistake they're making is not considering soft release.
Yeah, I wish they did soft release. I think that the main reason that they didn't was the financial constraints of that it cost significantly more to do a soft release than the hard release. I personally, I think it's a better way to go about it, but that's not something that they're entertaining. Even I thought maybe they would entertain it after they had wolf mortalities eclipse that 30% mark for reintroduced wolves. I thought maybe that would be on the list, but they said that they wouldn't change anything they did once the wolves got here, that they were looking at how could they and make uh, changes between catching to releasing, so that eliminated the opportunity for a soft release.
It's super frustrating because it's clearly a
Yeah.
best practice, and they would end up with, I think, better anchoring to the idealized release sites and a better chance that the wolves would stay together, and you'd have more cohesive behavior, which results in less depredation. Like, it's super frustrating to watch Colorado just fail left and right when we know how to do it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that would be the biggest thing that I would, if I could have it my way, that I would certainly want to change. And I think beyond that, we the, we are doing a good job. Colorado Parks and Wildlife is doing a good job with getting the non-lethal program up to where it is. I mean, it is incredible how committed they are to making that effort work, because we know that if wolves are, or if ranchers are having their best likelihood of not having predation on their cows and sheep, that means they're winning, and that means that the wolves are winning. And we need both the ranching community and the wolves uh, to be winning to make this work.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, and the biggest problem, of course, is carcass management. And I don't think you know anything about me. I come from one of the largest beef producers in Colorado.
Okay.
So I understand the situation on the ground, but I'm not sympathetic because I watch these guys start screaming fire after the horses are, out of the barn. It's,
Right.
they just don't take action until there's already a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and there's, I'm hopeful that it will be an evolution. And I know there's been talk that you're looking more at like the Blackfoot Challenge kind of structure, looking at community-based grants, and really having communities take ownership. And so we'll see how that evolves, and if when that evolves, does that then change the range rider program that they have set up now, or is that in addition to?
Well, I'm hopeful. I don't know if I would say I'm optimistic, but I'm hopeful that they'll start doing better because it's been messy so far.
That it has?
Well, thank you very much. I did really appreciate it. By the way, I'm Oliver at TahoeWolfCenter.org. Camilla has
Okay.
known me for many, many years. She's
Okay.
come and met our ambassadors in the past, actually.
Oh, cool.
And you should reach out to me privately. I'll put you in touch with the list master for the WCCL. I think you'd be a great addition to the list and would find it useful. It's not a high noise list.
Okay. Great.
And yeah,
Yeah.
and privately, if you want to just be in touch with me and my organization. So we're a tiny nonprofit that works with live ambassadors to do education, advocacy, and actual science.
Awesome. Yeah.
And
Yeah. I will certainly be in touch with you.
cool. And just so you know, this is Sun and Moon, two of our ambassador wolves at our center.
Wonderful.
And thank you again. Have a great
Yeah.
evening.
Thanks. You too. We could just spend the rest of the time watching your ambassador wolves.
Yeah, we're on a ridge line here. You can kind of see in the distance some of the lights down below. And I imagine if I howl, because they'll be able to hear the rest of their family group down in their habitat about a mile away, I might be able to get a little howl for you guys if you want me to try.
Go for it.
Let's see here. The other thing is we get a ton of coyotes, and so a lot of times I do that and we hear the coyotes.
Sure.
It's kind of a quiet evening.
That was
It
a
looks like,
nice howl. That was a
That
nice
was really
howl, I
good.
gotta say.
oh, well, 40 years of practice. And it's funny because I usually right here, I hear all the other animals in the habitat howling because they're mad they didn't get to go. And for whatever reason, and it's funny because it's supposed to be a 60-mile-an-hour wind and it's dead quiet with a beautiful moon. And we'll give one more shot just to see here. Sort of hoping the other guys hear and then they'll sing back, but it looks like I'm a fail for this evening.
That's funny. They're like, we're not going to perform for you.
Oh, there's the saying is that lions may be the king of the beasts, but you don't see wolves in the circus.
Exactly.
There's a reason for that. They're just too smart. They'll get you.
That's funny. Well, I appreciate you sharing them with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. That's why we have them, is to share them and inspire people and align with, Project Coyote has been one of my favorite orgs for many, many years because of the effectiveness of the organization, particularly compared to the scale of the org. You guys have been astonishingly effective, and I have nothing but good stuff to say about Camilla and your board.
Well,
I always like to connect with you guys.
yeah, we appreciate it.
Well, thank you again. Have a great evening.
Thanks, you too. Uh, anyone have anything on like the Furbury work, rodenticides? Expect to hear a lot from me about rodenticides as we get closer to that session.
Mark, what
Mhm.
is a soft release?
So a soft release is where they build. So I actually did a soft release when I lived in Africa. We did a soft release for hippos. So they build a like fenced in enclosure, and it's usually quite big, and those wolves or whoever is living there stays there for a defined period of time, and then they let them go. And so they are in there with multiple wolves, where like what we're doing with the hard release is wolf is just lands, gets in a truck, goes to the location, they open the cage, wolf runs out, and that's that. So they're typically done alone that way, and so now they're immediately going out and looking for other wolves to form a pack with. And they're not actually a pack until they mate and have pups. So the hard release is certainly less economic, financial costs. It's faster. You can get more wolves on the ground like really quickly, but you, you miss out on that bonding period, that acclimation period, and hopefully that they don't wander off and do like some of our wolves have wandered incredible distances, both in state and then leaving the state. But we've had a female that I think she did like 1,700 miles or something, and she's just been kind of doing this big oval around the state. So that's the difference. The difference between what I did with hippos versus what they do with wolves is they opened the door with wolves, and we just waited for the hippos to decide they were finished, and then they just busted through the fence, and that was when we knew.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Going once, twice. Julia, I can't believe you don't have a question.
I honestly can't believe it either.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad Julia is here to share the majesty of her tree that is her background. Always bringing. Oh, yes. See, I knew if I
I have
chatted
a
with you a little bit,
question.
it would come up.
Yes. I was reading a post today on the rare time that I jump on Facebook, and it was about the wolf reintroduction. And then the issue of Dan Gates came up, and in the chat, someone said, why is Dan Gates' role affecting the entire organization of CPW? And I thought, or why should that be? Or how is that? And how valid is that? And I just wondered I thought, yeah, here's one person that seems to be holding the organization back a few hundred years. And I just wondered, I feel like that's changing now as the organization attempts to move forward. But any comments on the poll? There's so many places where CPW is forging forward, like really positively. And then there are these other areas that are crucial, like fur bearers, where they seem to be having a lot more trouble. And there's a few people that seem to be exerting undue influence on their ability to move forward. Just any comments?
Yeah, I think that there has been some good progress there. I know that uh, there are certain people who are in the presence of CPW that the staff and the commission is just kind of getting tired of. And so I'm hopeful for those kinds of individuals to have less influence and less perceived power, and it seems that it is going that way. I think a lot of that has to do with, with like folks on this call that show up to meetings to provide written testimony, emailing them. Like there was a long period of time where the general public felt that they didn't have a place at the table with our state wildlife agencies. And that's not true. And the people of Colorado are proving that that's not true. And the commission is reacting from that as well. And there's super excited to see. I've had so many times commissioners have told me, like, every time I look out into the crowd and I see all of those advocates sitting there, I've never seen anything like it. And I've been coming to commission meetings for 40 years.
Mm.
And that's what we need to continue, because I mean, the law says that they're a public trust, that they belong to all Coloradans. Well, I don't believe that either. I don't believe these animals belong to anyone. But we do belong there advocating for them. So
Yeah.
Those folks who are stuck a bit in the past are also going to be in the past soon too.
It's encouraging.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it up there, but I really appreciate y'all coming on. And then for the folks that weren't able to make it this evening that signed up, we'll get this out to them too. So make sure that they know what's going on. Always feel free to reach out to me. And if you don't hear from me, I went to Wyoming on Wednesday of this week. So send a search party.
Thank
Right.
you.
Yep. Thanks. Y'all have a great night.